to Matchday Live here on LUTV. 6 games to go this season and 3 points very much the target for tonight as the team make the short trip north to take on Middlesbrough. Joining us for this one, we have Jermaine Beckford and Michael Bridges. How are we, lads?
Great to be here.
I didn't get the memo, did I? Right?
Hang on, he's got blue on.
I got blue on.
Yeah, look, you're both in dark. You know what I mean. I'm feeling the summery vibes this evening.
Yeah, to be fair, I've just changed from my summery vibes, and I'm far more comfortable now.
You are.
You've been delayed, just so you've done well to get here.
I know. I wouldn't miss
Right,
this for the
enough of
world.
that, boys.
Oh, sorry.
Right,
Sorry.
we'll take that off air. Okay. Look, Bex, you were here at the weekend with us.
Yep.
Not a peak Leeds United performance, as we saw. It was another twist, really. But off the back of that, are we all set for tonight, do you think?
I think so. I think there's obviously a lot of lessons to be learned. The 1-1 draw against Luton was a tough game. It was a tough result as well to take. But you have to remember the type of opposition we're up against is a very physical one, not a very ball-dominant team. Like, they don't like to get the ball down and go toe-to-toe. They just turned it into a bit of a scrappy fight, which didn't really suit us. However, Daniel would have had a couple of days to have conversations with the players. He would have gone through a lot of the situations that he wasn't happy with, giving the ball away early, not moving the ball quickly enough. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see a completely different type of performance today. And if not, I'm pretty certain the substitutions, the changes will come far sooner than they have in the last few games.
Yeah, we could just see the team arriving there over at the Riverside Stadium. Bridgie, keen to get your thoughts, because obviously you weren't alongside us on the sofa at the weekend. It was it felt a lacklustre performance, didn't it, for this Leeds United side? What did you make of it?
I just didn't think it was a game that we needed in that situation, coming up against Luton away from home and in the form that we had been in. I think they would have learned a lot, like Jermaine said, there, to be able to bully us into this situation, turn it into a scrappy affair. And they're a very, very physical and dominant team, and that does not suit us. We're a ball-playing team. We know how to counter-attack, scoring goals from all areas, and they made it so hard for us. And it's not an easy place to go. I mean, this season, obviously, a lot of teams have had it, but they're fighting for their lives. So I don't think that suited us. However, this game against Middlesbrough certainly does, because, you know, the stats are well in our favour from the last 5 meetings against Middlesbrough. You know, they've never won one of the games in the Championship. However, they did do us in the League Cup. But I just feel tactically, the way Michael Carrick has this team set up, if you'd have asked us 5 weeks ago, would they have made the playoffs, I would have said no, because they've been so inconsistent. However, since Iheanacho started playing for them, they've galvanised something up front. They're scoring goals again. So if we are defensively spot on and we press in the way that I know we can, because we'll talk about the team in a moment, Brendan Aronson being back, and I think he could be key because of his pressing aspect, because this team in Middlesbrough won't make mistakes. You're
right, we will. We'll talk about team news shortly, Bridgie. But Bex, when you look at this Middlesbrough side, in a similar way to Luton, who had something to play for, they also now have playoff places to play for. And that we've seen at the weekend, when teams have something to play for, can make them dangerous, regardless of what game we take to them.
Yeah, but it also means that they're going to want to try and get the ball down, play, keep the ball as well, which I actually don't mind, because what that leaves is us with an opportunity to win the ball back, turn the ball over, and very, very quickly expose their fullbacks with the wide players that we've got. And we've seen over the course of the season how lethal, how quick our wide players are, whether it's Ramazani, whether it's Nonto, whether it's Dan James or Manuel Solomon. It doesn't matter who's out there. They're quick, they're tricky. On the turnover, that's the vital moments. Those are the vital times where we need to make sure that we cause them a lot of problems. We're seeing now a couple of the players, Ethan Ampadu, in there as well. We need to see the best of him, and we need him to showcase what we've missed while he's been out. And he has done really, really well, but the last game or so, not just him, but a few of the boys have been performing below par, and we just need more. We need more from him.
Well, yeah, let's talk about team news, shall we? Ilya Gruev comes in for Pascal Struijk, of course, who's injured, which means that, like you say, Ethan Ampadu goes to centre-back. Daniel's also brought in Brendan Aronson for Willie Nonto. Bridgie, what are your thoughts on that?
I'll talk about Willie Nonto missing out. I think if it had been at Elland Road, we would have seen him staying. What I think with Brendan going away from home, I think Daniel Farke has looked at his energy levels when we don't have the ball and how he presses so well. And I think that's the moment we're looking for. Bex has just said there, Middlesbrough will want to play out, and when they try and force the passes through the lines into the midfield, into their, we call it a pivot or defensive midfielder to make it simple, of Middlesbrough, that's when Aaron Brendan will just go and he'll press and win the ball back. And I think that is when Middlesbrough are at their most vulnerable. So I think that's why Aronson has been with that change. And I think the other one is obviously because Pascal is out, Amadou slots into that centre-half position. And I like the balance in midfield as well. You know, Grew have got the legs in there, and Tanaka's alongside Tanaka, who, you know, I could just watch him in training, just watch him walk the streets. I think he's absolutely fine. Just the best find ever. So hopefully he can get that form back to what he showed in the mid-season.
Well, look, kick-off is just over 20 minutes away over at the Riverside Stadium, so let's get the thoughts of Manor Solomon.
Well, Manor, 6 games to go. Big one as well here at Middlesbrough tonight, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a big game for us tonight. We know that our last results were not good enough, and today in an away game against a great side as Middlesbrough, we want to deliver a good performance and we want to take the 3 points. Yeah,
the home team have got plenty to play for, haven't they? So is that going to be an impact in the way that the game is played? Will it be an open game?
Yeah, we hope. We don't know. It could be an open game. We're sure it will be a completely different game to the other games against Luton. It will be a different game, and we are well prepared. We are ready, and we want to make sure that we deliver a good performance and good result.
There's pressure, of course, but are you looking forward to it as a group?
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Of course, there is a lot of pressure on us, but pressure is part of the game, it's part of football. To be honest, I think we love the pressure. We want to embrace it. We want to get this challenge, and it starts from today, and hopefully we'll get a good result.
Manor Solomon feeling very optimistic there. Things you'll love to see. Look, let's talk about that Sheffield United result, because obviously they lost at Oxford and we've got to go there. But does that just show how unpredictable this running is going to be, Bridgie?
It's the Championship. Everybody's fighting at the bottom half. Everybody's fighting for the playoff positions. Teams fighting for automatic promotion. That's why we love the Championship. And I think you see that one against Oxford, that was the result that I had highlighted on my app, and I'm going, when I saw Oxford 1-0 up, I didn't want to see that ping again, you know, I was so excited when it didn't. And you just never know what you're going to get. That's why you've got to make sure that you are fully focused for every game leading in. And I think the biggest weekend of the calendar, I always used to remember being the Championship, was the Easter weekend, the 2 games in 4 days. That can make or break teams. And I think with the squad depth that we have got, I am still very, very confident that we're going to be one of the top 2.
Especially when you look, I know we shouldn't look outside of ourselves, it's just focusing on what we're doing, but when you look at Sheffield United and Burnley, who've got to play each other, that kind of, someone's going to drop points there, if not both of them, aren't they?
Yeah, either one team's going to drop 3 or both teams are going to drop 2. Yeah. But we can't afford to look at that and think, right, well, we're going to wait for them to make a decision or something for them to do. We have to go out there and make sure we get the points, play the type of football we've been seeing at the beginning of the season, beginning half of the season especially. Don't worry about anything else. We can't control what goes on in Burnley or in Sheffield. All we can do is control what goes on here at Elland Road and when the players are on the pitch, wherever they're travelling to. 2 teams have got to go up automatically. So it's us and another team.
Yes.
That's the perspective that I have. That's how we need to look at it.
The other thing that annoyed me today, I've been listening to the radio and I've heard a lot of pundits, pundits
towards Leeds
and other fans ringing in just saying Leeds are going to feel the pressure when they play at home. They obviously never played at Elland Road in a Leeds United shirt because there's no pressure. It's an absolute privilege to go out there and wear the jersey, and it's the fans that make it that difference. It's the opposition that are the ones that should be coming here paranoid, because the pressure comes from them having it's every team that comes here sees it as their biggest day of their season. They want to try and emulate what Elland Road is all about. So that really annoyed me today when I heard people, well, they've got a load of home games to come. Man, we are superb at home.
Tell us what you really think.
Yeah, I've got it off my chest, you know what I mean? You know what it's like out there, man.
I know.
There's no pressure, you've got to embrace pressure, and that's what it's about, and that's why Elland Road is such a force.
I completely agree with you, Bridgie, but also playing devil's advocate, we do have to improve, because 1 win in 6 at what is the wrong time of the season.
So this is the flip side. Sorry, Bex.
That's all right.
The games that we have slipped up in, or like you say, our form is not what it used to be. Middlesbrough's form has been a massive turn, because 5 games ago, they were absolutely horrendous. They lost 3 or 4 back-to-back. And now I'm looking at them. They've got 10 points in the last 4 matches, 3 wins and a draw. So I wish we'd had that. So this game, I feel, has come at the right time for us. I'm not in form just with it being Middlesbrough and the way they play, and I think we can get some out of this because of the press.
Look, Bex, we're not going to reflect on that Luton game for too much longer, but let's just have a little look back at some of those highlights from the weekend, shall we? What could we have done differently?
You just see, I think one of the reasons why Willian Gnonto's not in the squad, not in the 11 today, is because of that moment there. He kind of gives the ball away there. His recovery run, getting back, he's not quite fully bursting back. But then it's not just him. I don't mean to single him out. There's a few players that should follow the runners. Yeah, look at the bottom of the screen. You've got three Luton players. It could have fallen to any one of those three. So that's the reason why he's not in. But it's little things like that. We're giving the ball away too easily, too silly. Those are things that Daniel Farke would have worked on and said, right, let's get back to basics. What we're going to do in training today is pass and move. Simple passing drills. Just to get the players used to playing one-touch, two-touch football. You don't have to overdo it. Dan James, we spoke about this goal the other day as well. It was brilliant. The thing that I liked about it is he really settled himself, composed himself to hit the ball across the goalkeeper. And we've seen it many times where he's lashed at it. But that time it was far more control about him. And that's what we want to see more of. We know he can do it, and we know Manuel Solomon could do it on the other side. We just need a little bit more control from them.
And I think Dan James's calmness is going to be key for us in this running, isn't it, Bridgie?
Yeah, definitely the experience that he's got. I mean, the season he is having, his stats off through the roof. Probably, I think it's his best performance of his career personally. Not only for Leeds United, but obviously getting a gig under Craig Bellamy with the national team. He absolutely loves him because of his energy levels, his pace. And I think that moment there's a lot of times I've looked at DJ in the past when he's got in that position, I'm kind of going, don't shoot, just pass. Confidence he is in this season, man. Dan, just keep hitting him as many times as you can, and that's credit to him. He's, his family life is settled. He's happy playing at Leeds United, and his stats are through the roof. So I'm absolutely buzzing for him.
Well, look, we'll continue to look ahead to tonight's game again very shortly. But first, let's head back over to the Riverside Stadium and get the thoughts of our commentary team for this evening, Bryn Law and Tony Dorigo.
Been a lovely day, but it's a little cool now on Teesside, but it's going to be red hot shortly as we look forward to a really big championship game with Leeds United here at Middlesbrough. The team news from Tony Dorigo. Couple of changes to talk about, Tony.
Yes, a couple of changes. Aronson comes back in. Obviously Gnonto drops out, and Ampadu will drop back in the centre half, and so Gruev comes in to that midfield area. So it kind of as expected. I think Gnonto didn't quite perform at the level he would have liked, so Brendan comes back.
This has the look of being a particularly difficult game, does it not, given Middlesbrough have so much to play for themselves still?
You're right. They're in a good vein of form as well. A good win at the weekend away at Blackburn. Of course, they're going for the playoffs as well, and they're in there at the moment. So we know it's going to be tough. And games between us are always interesting, to say the least. Certainly here last season. So at this stage of the season, is putting a performance in, trying to play to your maximum, and trying to get the better of the opposition. But Middlesbrough will be a tough nut to crack. 3 draws going into this one for Leeds suggests there's a bit more to be done maybe at both ends of the pitch. Would that be right? Yes, I think fine margins in games, we know that. And if you think of the Manor Solomon chance at Luton right near the end, suddenly things could look very, very different. But then you only got to look at Sheffield United's result and suddenly they go and lose the next game. So got to keep a calm and level head. But you're right, fine moments at this point of the season have to go in our way. So, we need to take those chances.
Big night, isn't it?
It is a big night. It feels a big night as well. There's so many games coming up, but I just feel this one, we've been given a second life again. We win this one, things look very different. Preston coming at home, suddenly you can see the mentality changing, but and I know as well, amongst us, amongst the fans, it's a nervy time, but hopefully with the players, they're calm and they're ready for this one.
We're all ready for this one. Okay, bring it on. Middlesbrough v Leeds United.
Tony Dorigo there reflecting how all of us feel at the minute, I think. Look, let's talk about the promotion race a little bit more, shall we? And I am going to have to refer to my notes here, boys, because this is quite long and convoluted. Right. Burnley have won 4 of their last 5. They go to Derby, who had won 4 on the spin before defeat. That's just my iPad telling me that kick-off's in 15 minutes. Sorry if you heard that. They'd won 4 on the spin before defeat at Swansea at the weekend. Sheffield United host Millwall, who have obviously got an outside chance of playoffs. Yep. And like us, both have got games against teams with something to play for. Does this make sense? So how do you see it playing out? Because it's not just us looking at ourselves going, there's a lot at stake here. The teams around us are also doing the same.
Well, the thing is, if we win every game between now and the end of the season, we get promoted. Even though we're sitting right now in third place, because as I mentioned before, the two teams above us, Sheffield and Burnley, have to play each other. So one team will drop in 2 points, at minimum 2 points. So as long as we win every game, we have nothing else to worry about. That being said, you look at the run-ins of both Sheffield United and Burnley. You look at our run-in as well. Put all three of them side by side, and you could easily argue, Burnley's run-in is far more tricky, far more difficult, with tougher opposition higher up in the league going for a playoff place than Sheffield United and us. So if you look at it from that perspective, there's a possibility they could slip up somewhere else as well. I don't want to take anything for granted. I don't want to say, well, because we've got a few teams that are lower down in the league, it's going to be easy for us. It's not, because every team, we've said this before, every team that we play against, treat it like it's an FA Cup final. This is the biggest game of their season, the opposition season. So we have to treat every game like it's our cup final. But to do that, we've got to be so dominant with the ball. We've got to be aggressive. We've got to make sure we keep the ball. We get the opposition team moving around, switch the play nice and quickly, use the pace of the wide players that we got and the clinical finishing of Joel Peru and the high pressing of Brendan Aronson as well. We've got to make sure we get on top of these lot.
You never know this point of the season what's going to happen. You've seen Middlesbrough had a turn in form, we've had a dip in form. You've seen Derby County come from absolutely nowhere. We've seen Coventry under Frank Lampard being on an incredible run, come to this end of the season. What have they done? They've had a massive fall in the last few matches. So the Championship, you never go. All you've got to make sure you go into these games, your preparation's spot on, you're listening to the instructions that the staff are giving you, you're concentrating, and you're doing everything right off the field to make sure that you are so switched on for these games. Because Daniel Farke, he's been there before with Norwich, he's done it. Last season, it's still hurting everybody involved in this football club. We don't want to see what happened again this season. He's got a point to get us in that top two, and this game is massive.
And he seems very confident about that. We'll hear from Daniel Farke very shortly, but Joel Peru actually posted on social media. It was a rallying cry, really, for support. Bex, what do you think the message is going to be within the squad? What's the feeling going to be like? And we saw the captain Ethan Ampadu earlier. What's he going to be saying to his teammates at this moment?
Don't overcomplicate it. We know how good we are. We know what we're good at. We know what we can improve on. Let's just stick to the things that we're good at. We're good at being aggressive on the front foot, pressing high up the pitch, getting the ball into the wide players. Solomon, as we're seeing here in the clips, and Dan James. We're good at.
By the way, not one of them missed the target there.
I was going to say,
please let that continue.
Unbelievable.
That was ridiculous.
Unbelievable. So that's exactly it. We know how to win games. We know how to play the game. Just let the ball do the talking. We've been there before, haven't we? It's just a matter of making sure that the players do it now. A little bit of pressurised situations because we're coming towards the back end of the season. I don't care about that. I know they can do it. We've seen them do it.
We've seen it week in, week out.
Yeah.
And Middlesbrough, they'll be feeling their own pressure as well, given where they are in the table, won't they, Bridgie?
Well, Michael Carrick was feeling it if you'd gone back 5 games because, there was talk that he was going to lose his job.
They lost 5 on the bounce.
5 games on the spin. And I've been following them closely. I follow the North East teams closely. And there was big pressure. Gibson given the benefit of the doubt because he knew they were so close to the playoffs. And it was that point, do I make a change now to try and get Middlesbrough in there? Or do I stick with Michael? And they've stuck with him, and obviously it's paid off. So they're in for the playoffs. Let's just hope that tonight we turn up and show them
an off day.
Not an off day. They do have an off day. Yeah.
I was going to say flipping.
I was going to say, Bridgie, an off day, yes, please.
But we have a spot on day, and we go back, like Beck's saying, to the basics when we've got the ball and go and express ourselves. Because when our fullbacks and wingers getting the ball, there's no better feeling as a player that is a central striker, knowing that you've got them wingers putting the balls in for you.
Well, look, kick-off is just over 10 minutes away, so let's get the thoughts of the boss, Daniel Farke.
It's a crunch time period of the season, and it's quite normal. Everyone is even a bit more nervous. Also, the supporters are more nervous, and everyone interprets a bit more into each and every result. So once you were a few times also involved in, for example, promotion or title races, it's quite often the fact that, especially straight after the game, you react a bit over emotional, and there are a few situations when you interpret a bit too much into it. It's still just 3 points that you're fighting for, and it's important also that the fire is also burning. And I wouldn't say it's a problem if it's sometimes also burning a bit over the line. Not a problem at all. But on the other hand, it's also important to stay calm, to stay focused, and to be analytic and also objective in the way you judge things. But it's this time of the season, and everyone is on it, and for that. Also in the last 6 game days, there will be many twists and turns. You have to keep your nerves. You have to stay calm and cool and fight in each and every game for the perfect outcome. Yes, and then we'll see for what this is enough then come the end of the season. We face a strong side, a side who is also in a top position, currently fighting also for a top position in the top 6. We know that they're in pretty impressive form at the moment, but I think they will also face a strong opponent. So we have all chances if we are ourselves also to be successful also in this away game. We know that we have to be at our best because Middlesbrough is, especially in attacking terms, a really, really good side, and we have to make sure that we defend pretty structured and pretty compact and are really one compact unit tomorrow evening. But nevertheless, we want to go there and want to be as successful as possible.
Yeah, let's just follow on from what Daniel Farke was saying about this Middlesbrough side. We know that they can be dangerous. It was quite a comfortable win, wasn't it, in December here? But it was 1-1 until the 74th minute. Yeah. So we do know that they have the potential to be dangerous, don't we, Bridget?
Yeah, especially with signed Nacho as well. I think since he's come in and their loss against Swansea, the last 4 matches, he's been inspired. I've heard the fans talking about him. You've got Finn Azaz, such a good player, assist this season. Conway scored an incredible goal the other day with a volley against Blackburn. And obviously at the back, I think the change in form, Clark's been out and they brought in Housen, who we all know what he's about. He's been Leeds player in the past. So like I say, going forward, they are very, very dangerous. I just think there's a lot of mistakes and vulnerability at the back, which will suit us when they're trying to play out.
Yeah, Bex as well. We saw that 4-3 win at the end of last season, didn't we, at the Riverside for us. We know that they can hurt teams. Do you think we could get a similar open game, or do you think it's going to be tighter tonight?
I think it will be similar to the last one. I think it will be quite open because of what's on the line. You know, there's a huge opportunity for Middlesbrough to cement their place in the playoff positions. So they'll be going for it. They won't want to give anything away. Don't get me wrong. They're not going to be reckless and wild, but they'll give us opportunities like this one here. They'll try and find ways to play nice little triangles around us and create spaces and create overloads. But, you know, towards the back end of the game, as we saw here, unbelievable play from Tanaka. I think that was one of his early games, wasn't it? Unbelievable. And that's when we really saw.
But we're just seeing them 2 goals that we're witnessing now, as Bex alluded to, they both come from the moments where Middlesbrough have lost the ball. We've won it and counter-attacked, and they've had numbers obviously spread out to play. And when we go, I think that is going to be the main focus. That's why I said to you before that Aronson's in the team for their moments, win the ball, and then we go bang.
That turnover is key.
Look, Luton very much didn't allow us to play our game.
Stop
you know,
talking about
just
Luton.
one.
You said before.
I said one more question. Right.
Last one. This is it now. You're on thin ice.
Yeah, really thin.
God, I'm in trouble, aren't I? Luton didn't allow us to. Luton, right? Didn't allow us to play our game. Yeah. Middlesbrough tonight. Do you think we are going to get more of an opportunity, or will they have been looking at that game against Luton and thinking, "Oh, what can we do here"?
They're not going to be as physical as Luton were. I don't think they're going to be as direct as Luton were, neither. Because I know Michael Carrick and the team set out, they're going to try and play through the lines. You might get the odd one or two where they try and bypass the press and you do go longer. And that's when I think the defensive unit with Roden and Ampadu is key. Because there's nothing worse than where strikers, when you've got a defender right behind you, pressurising you and trying to win the ball in front of you. And the defenders that are on the front foot, it's so annoying to beat. And I think Ampadu and Roden, the partnership that we saw early on this season, I think it was one goal conceded in like 9 games or something.
Something like that.
It was incredible. So hopefully it's a completely different game. Put that Luton game to bed. We're not mentioning it again. It's all about beating Middlesbrough, Emma.
No more Luton, guys. I promise, no more Luton.
She just did it again.
It's your favourite time of the night, Michael Bridges. I'll come to you
Dinner
first.
time?
They've had too much Red Bull, these two. Score predictions, right? Jermaine Beckford, what are you going for?
I fancy us to come away with a victory. It's going to be a tough one, but I'm going to say 2-0.
2-0, I'll take that. Bridget, you've shown your allegiance to Middlesbrough tonight, so what are you
Stop
going
it,
for?
you. Getting sacked in the morning. I'm going to go for 3-1 away win. Same goal deficit, but I'm saying that we're going to get an extra goal.
We'll take either of those, to be honest, won't we,
I'll just take
lads?
3 points.
Right, teams are in the tunnel, so it's time to hand you over to your commentary team this evening, Tony DeRigo and Bryn Law.
Thanks very much. The build-up is just about complete. The atmosphere is building. And as you would imagine, for a game that has such significance for both sides, there's a crackle of tension in the air here on Teesside as well this evening. Leeds United are indeed down below in the tunnel. And the Middlesbrough players, led by former Leeds favourite Johnny Howson, are now alongside them. And now Middlesbrough do their pre-match thing here. As the old pig bag anthem echoes around the stadium. And what looks pretty much like a full house. There are some spare seats around about the place, but pretty close to capacity here. And the Leeds United supporters, who are, for us, on the far side of the ground, in the corner section, filled that section inevitably, and a considerably easier journey for an away game than many of those that the fans have endured in recent weeks. The hope, of course, is that when Leeds United are making the relatively short trip back to West Yorkshire,